All right, let's try this again. Adventurous Guide to the Galaxy. We're back out here at night. So, I don't know if you guys can hear this dog barking over here. There's like weird stuff moving around. We're doing the Maga Civil War Part 6. That's what this video is about. So, if you see me looking around, so I'm standing out here in the woods by my house and I hear like little creatures moving around. Hopefully, they're little. And yeah, so here we go. So, in my last video that I did a couple of days ago about the Maga Civil War, right? It was hard for me to concentrate, and I just like sped past a bunch of bullet points that I had on my little piece of paper, which is not what my plan was, but it was so much goofy stuff has happened since my last installment of the video. It was a lot, and I also had like a little bit of space on my phone. I didn't have a lot of space. I was trying to cram it all in on top of, this small set of 20,000 emails about Jeffrey Epstein and a bunch of people talking, right? Came out. And as I was reading a bunch of that stuff, some really silly stuff happened, and it was so funny that it was hard for me to concentrate. I hear something moving over here, so I'm looking that way. But yeah, it was hard for me to concentrate. If you don't know, it was the Vladimir Putin picture of Donald Trump and Bubba thing. If you don't know what that is, I'll have to let you check that out here in a minute. But I'm going to be making some shorts about this stuff because I have all the on my phone here. I got somebody was kind enough to make a compilation of all the emails and stuff. Now, again, to be fair, well, not fair, but it's not just about Donald Trump and emails. It's, Epstein talking to his brother about a bunch of random stuff from 2008 to 2019. There's like 2,000 emails. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. So that's what made me not able to concentrate and laugh my mind. But yeah, brain was scrambled then. So the topic of these videos is the MAGA Civil War. Uh, back in 2023, I was in California, and I made one of the installments of the videos, which I'll have in the link below underneath this video, where I talked about there's something moving in this bush right here. Hold on a second, I gotta go check this out. Sorry about that. I had to chase something away. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff in these emails that came out. Hard for me to concentrate. It was too funny. I'm going to make some short videos about that. But again, the whole point of make these videos is, a couple years ago, I started seeing that, just like other political movements, left wing, libertarian in America, and there's people that are not from America and watch some of my videos. In the United States of America, there's two main political parties, but there's smaller political parties that are very popular. There's independents and there's all these other groups. But the two main big political parties, they like to absorb these movements and they like to bring them into theirs, i.e., like they had the whole Bernie Sanders movement. They were like, we need to have, this other thing, populism, left-wing populism, or, forget the parties. And there was the 2011, the Occupy Wall Street, there's the Tea Party movement, and they all get rolled in. Cat, if you ever jump and scare me like that, I'll kill you. They all get rolled up into the main political parties, and then nothing ever changes. People get angry, and they've made it into this like cycle thing where because you vote for president every 4 years, but in between those they have, they vote for other elections, every 2 years, and they have other ones every year, but they just loop it into this thing where it's like this anger cycle where, what are we going to do? Be mad. What are we going to do about it? We're going to wait until the next election, a couple of years, and then we're going to talk about it then, but shut up until then, because then you're being radical and you're hurting people by talking about the problems before the rich people are ready to care for 5 seconds. And that's pretty much the entirety of American politics, like the regular politics, right? So again, it's conservative civil war because I saw this happens to all the political, groups. They all collapse and back and forth because every day people are getting mad. And in 2012, I noticed that they started making news because they were greedy and wanted money. They saw internet was getting clicks, so the news corporations were greedy and started doing things for clicks. Then they made the 24-hour news cycle, which was a dumb thing because people didn't always care about politics 24/7. They only heard about it every once in a while. Now you got people hooked, the same people you got hooked on reality TV shows and movies and stuff. Now they're hooked on politicians and stuff as personalities. And then you have it 24/7. Great. So you can make money, right? Make money. But then Now the politicians had to answer for stuff all the time, and now it speeds up the cycle of what people are going to ask for and what they want. And now things are getting bad because again, Obama 2012, Rand Paul, was popular in 2012. They had a lot of different things. Again, these different smaller movements get rolled up into the Republican Party because again, running as an independent in America is very difficult. You get death threats. If you're too popular, you need money, millions and trillions of dollars, because that's how they set the system up. All this different stuff. So these different groups of people, whether it's because of jobs, because of there's people who liked Obama because he was popular, he played basketball, all these different things. You get mad for one reason or another along the years. You're like, man, Obama really failed us, right? We're going to vote for this other guy, Donald Trump, because he's going to be the opposite. We're going to do we're going to fix it, and we're going to do the opposite. We're going to get back at those people and this, and then it becomes like this back and forth thing. They're not solving problems. They're trying to get back at this person, which hurt their feelings or genuinely let them down for one reason or another. Again, you had the first Donald Trump administration. You had the just basically talking. Is the whole first Trump administration was basically like a lot of stuff was happening in the background, like a lot of money and a lot of Federal Reserve stuff, a lot of crazy stuff. But on the surface, it was just like this arguing with Trump about just whatever. They just would pick a topic, and they would just say, "Oh my God, this is crazy." So it made it very like annoying to just be in the news every day. There's like a super bright light over here. It's very strange. So I'm gonna look this way just to make sure that this isn't like something crazy going on. So like I said, pick a topic every day that it was like something super crazy and ridiculous. And so it just became annoying. So then, like I said, oh my God, liberals became synonymous with corporate television, and super popular celebrities and people with money from DC and everything being all over television for, because that's what they pushed, I guess, these corporations. And they just be doing annoying stuff, just doing ridiculous stuff, for, being culturally in America. There's like a lot of different things that people like, movies and TV shows and, um, sports, pop culture, things like that. A lot of left wing people and liberals are very popular in that space. So they would be pushing a really hard the corporate Democrat agenda through liberalism and all this other like highfalutin popular stuff. And people get very sick of that because it's very annoying to be like looked down upon by rich people who got money because they're, next to the person with the money printer, or, they actually worked really hard with great jobs and stuff. But, you know, it's just a whole bunch of different stuff. Again, a lot of government stuff, a lot of, corporate CIA, the FBI, like a lot of stuff. Anybody can be, that people can in America, they can switch political affiliation just depending on how they feel in the season or how cool it is or what's popular. So again, a lot of that stuff would be portrayed on television. So over the years, people got sick of liberals and stuff. So they went, "Oh, we're gonna go to Trump," and it basically like the new meta became, "Oh, Trumpism is cool. Now we're popular. Look, we're the counterculture. Look at this." And then, like I said, when people do these switching movements, they're not really looking into who actually controls, all the, let's say, the media functions and stuff. And over the time, the internet becomes popular. YouTube became more popular than Facebook during this time, 2015. This is what I'm talking about. Sorry, I didn't mean to break up the timeline there. And all these different people, we were switching back and forth from Obama to the Trump party. And then like around like 2018, 19, America was, I guess, it was all right. It was like probably like the best it was going to get, like 2018, 19, I guess, in recent years, not because it was like great or anybody wasn't suffering. It's because it was right before COVID, right? And then COVID happens under Donald Trump. He does I'm the father of the vaccine thing. All the rollout became crazy. People don't like it. They didn't like the problem or the solution came from same people. If you don't know, me and my friend Daryl Guberman, I'll put it in the link below. We did a whole conversation about that. He's a very great gentleman, avid professional. And then people, again, because it's on television, they blame Trump for the COVID stuff, even though that's not necessarily how it goes down. Should blame a lot of people, but let's just keep it simple here. So because of the rollout of the vaccine and the COVID stuff and the whole shutdown and lockdown stuff, people blame the Trump or Republicans because they're in power at the time. So then that gave Democrats the edge to do, however you think it went down, however anybody thinks went down, funky monkey elections or whatever, then to get to Joe Biden. And then, like I said, again, the leak coming out of the last years of the lockdown and stuff, then you have all the, you know, You have all the inflation and all these different things. So again, people are switching political groups and sides based on what's happening. They're getting mad. So then you have this most recent thing where it's like, we're finally going to get away from Joe Biden. Because, like, again, a lot of stuff was happening, for years in America. And again, it's like the president plays hot potato on television, because it's an old guy, right? And they have administration. But again, the U.S. government and all, like, the whole apparatus of politics and the donors and stuff like that, that's how it really works and stuff. But a lot of people who are jumping these political movements, they're regular people. They don't know a lot of this stuff. That's why they're getting swayed by a person on television, low level person that they think is high level. Oh my God, I like this person. As they're going back and forth, they're learning lessons because it's painful in life. So now the conversation that people are having from 2015 was, oh man, Trump's going to shake up the system, to, holy crap, look at all these emails. All these people are involved in some weird stuff. There's a lot of lights moving around here. Like, what the hell's going on? Sorry, there's like the whole horizon is like lighting up over here. They just had like a rocket launch like a little while ago. Like, actually, like literally like 20 or 30 minutes ago, out by the little rocket station, Kennedy Space Center area. And I've seen like a lot of lights light up. So it's a little weird. Extra. So again, people are moving back and forth from all these little political movements, and they're learning. Again, the conversation changes from Trump is like going to shake up the system to, oh my God, all these people are involved in the Diddler network. Why is the news pretending like we don't see them doing weird stuff and we don't already know? So again, what was the point of saying all that? MAGA Civil War. A lot of these different people who joined the movement for one reason or another are seeing who actually controls the movement. And they're like, I'm not about this. I thought we were going to solve our problems because my life is hard. And they're clashing with the Ben Shapiro's and the Megyn Kellys, who are saying, why do I care about you not being able to afford stuff? It's great for me. And diddling kids isn't wrong. What's your problem? Ben Shapiro, what did he say? If you can't afford to live in your hometown, then maybe you should move to another country, or you should move somewhere else. You're not entitled to live. Let me doing the Ben Shapiro voice. Yeah, you're not entitled to live. You're not entitled to live where you grew up. Yeah, because so yeah, that's the Ben Shapiro voice. I'm not like a fan of the guy. And again, I can make fun of him because he literally, wishes, death and destruction upon us. So how about that? I don't wish anything bad to happen to him. I'm just saying I'm making fun of him. But yeah, like I said, the reason why I'm looking over it, because there's like a light over the horizon over here. You can't see it because the camera, it's a cell phone camera, is because there's nothing over there. There's no like big major town or stuff like that. Not enough for there to be that type of light going on over there. So that's why I'm saying that. Anyway, so a lot of people who joined MAGA for one reason or another, again, case in point, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's out here copping pleas like, oh man, MAGA's toxic AF, and all this stuff, all this other stuff. Again, she was with Donald Trump the whole time, while they were just doing senseless political back and forth with the Democrats. We're going to get the Democrats. We're going to take them down. They're not going to do anything. These are other rich people that live in America. You sit across from them every single day. Y'all literally populate the same building. The in the government, they got the House and the Senate and all these different places and all these different offices. Y'all walk past them every day. Y'all ain't fighting whether or not, not that I wish violence on anybody, but you know what I mean? Like, they're not like actually opponents like in real life. Like, it's again, it's politics. Like, they're supposed to be representing their constituents in their districts and stuff like that, but usually it ends up, large donor wants this, mega apartment complex is coming to your area, mega data center is getting plopped in your area. We're going to charge your electric bill like $700, even though you live in the middle of nowhere. We just pick whatever. The tariffs are messing up all types of people's business. It's good for some people, that work in the government, but other people who are regular, like the farmers, oh my God, I can't sell my soybeans, over in other countries because you're angering China. Again, China can be your adversary and all this other stuff, but you still have to do business with them because that's the way you set up the economy in the first place. But now that you're going full cut off, our own people, a lot of people in America who would traditionally be in these MAGA groups, again, just like liberals and stuff we talked before, or excuse me, people who vote for liberals and Democrats and all that stuff, people who consider themselves more liberal and they vote that way. They had to find out with Joe Biden doing the, all the stuff that happened during Joe Biden's presidency, shall I say, because he's like super old and doesn't have a clue at the time. The Norfolk Southern train thing, I did a video about that. This, in East Palestine, Ohio, train crash mysteriously blew up and chemicalized the whole town. And the whole Northeast got chemical bombed. They didn't do anything about that. They kind of shrugged that off. Gaza sitting over there here wiping out whole entire families so they can build Donald Trump's eventual hotel thing. That again, the next administration took over and dropping more bombs, wiping out more people, creating more terrorists that they claim to not want to create or hate, but yet they keep creating them and funding them. So again, it's just the same old stuff that I've always made videos about for years. And a lot of these, again, so then you have all that stuff going on. MAGA Civil War. A lot of people in MAGA are like, yo, okay, so why are we messing with you? Because again, the rhinos allegedly that people didn't like, they were the people that were the forever war types, the super strange religious types, the possibly get involved in some Epstein weirdo island stuff types. We're going to go for Donald Trump because that's going to be different. And then a couple years later, 2025 happens. And now MAGA and all the younger, again, most Gen Z, they're like, yo, we literally were supposed to be against this. Now you're literally doing all the things that you said you wouldn't do. And you're having an attitude about it. And they're throwing them the middle finger. MAGA Civil War. And so the other side is the Megyn Kellys, the Mark Levins, these people are, again, it's hard to think about it because like once I think about some of these people, it's so weird. It's like, ew, like, bro, Mark Levin, looking like a gargoyle, shriveled up gargoyle, wiggle worm looking ass, talking about we need to murder all these kids. Bro, I look at Mark Levin and I think of like a little goblin under a bridge that's like 3 feet tall. Like, what I'm saying? Like, man, you gotta take your ass and go somewhere with your, we need to murder all these people. They're Amalek and all this stuff. Like, bro, if you're bad, then go over and be about it. Go move over to the Middle East and go never come back and then just be attacking little kids and stuff. And you're salivating about doing that. It's crazy, bro. That stuff is wild, bro. You know what I mean? Ben Shapiro, same thing. I never liked him because he's always talking about we need to kill people, we need to do this and that. But he's always sitting over here, like just like preaching like anger and stuff, on the guise of, oh, we're not woke, except for stuff that I want. And it's just like, what? So again, years, decade plus, I've never liked him. Like, bro, how can people listen to this stuff? This is ridiculous. Always, again, going right along with the fake foreign policy Epstein stuff. And like, it's just crazy. Like, we have nothing to do with that. But everything you say literally is in his service 100% to that. And it like goes exactly along with it the entire time. Again, all the way back to like the 2010s and early 2000s, where people were talking about, again, in America, the average person would be talking about, reality TV and stuff, like that. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Reality TV, they still talk about it now, but a lot of people, even if they watch reality TV, right, you can still have a conversation with them about people that run the country are completely just literally the worst of all kinds. Doesn't matter what party they're in. Like, dude, these people are literally abhorrent. And again, you can do that now. Before, when I talk about this type of stuff, people look at me like I had 71 eyes on my head and it was like some type of freak monster. But now everyone's like, yeah, man, yeah, you were right. Yeah. So again, that's how it's always been. And again, the MAGA Civil War, a lot of people are finding out that it doesn't matter what you're looking for. Anybody who gets to a certain point in the political power structure has got some crazy stuff going on, or some crazy stuff has got a gun to their back and they can't really say anything. Right? Everybody's got the story. Everybody has the thing that, like, there's like a little meme that says, who radicalized you? You know what I mean? Even regular people I talk to, like something bad happened, maybe to them, to somebody they know, something happened. And that's the thing that woke them up, whether it was like the lockdowns, whether it was something that they saw on TV. Everybody's like freaked out about it, but like there's varying degrees of how people are waking up and what they're doing about it. Again, i.e., MAGA Civil War. Marjorie Taylor Greene's out here like, I can't believe that they're literally defending the super Epstein diddler op on TV and trying to drag me down with them. Yes, that is MAGA. Like, because again, you thought you were joining the Donald Trump, the Jesus flotilla, right? Because a lot of people believe that he's like a messiah and all this other stuff, because that's how the CIA and all these other people marketed it, to get people to join. If you didn't know that, watch Israeli News Live, right? That's a guy, Stephen Benoon, he talks about it. Marjorie Taylor Greene is upset that they're trying to drag her in. But again, all you thought you were joining the Donald Trump thing. you were actually joining the political establishment that's always been there with a new Donald Trump face mask on, because they're like, yo, how do we get people to not be mad that we're literally doing everything? Again, a lot of people were up to the average regular person. No, okay, Epstein Island is like a household word, like, oh, the Epstein Island. Wait till they find out about that the Zorro Ranch. I think it's two R's. The Epstein Zorro Ranch out in um New Mexico. I'm hearing weird sounds all around me. The Epstein Zorro Ranch. Now, this isn't just me making this up, right? Epstein, I guess Mr. Epstein Jeffrey. Again, this is the reason why people say that everybody's involved in stuff. Regular people who live in the United States of America, they actually work a lot of hours. They work jobs, they work hours, they do all types of stuff. So having some dude show up one day named Jeffrey Epstein, he just, in his, because again, this is like the 70s and 80s when he shows up, he just has millions of dollars, and he's literally just a random dude who's young. He's in his like 20s or 30s with hundreds of millions of dollars and all this stuff. You're like, that was a lot of money for back then. Again, he just always had ridiculous amounts of money. He's had a Manhattan property, the most expensive house in Manhattan, huge, ridiculous. He got it for $1, a single dollar, one US dollar, 1.00. What type of deals are you getting for $1? And most Americans, I don't go to the dollar store. I go to the dollar store. I don't get a mega mansion for $1, because again, that's the place where he's got all these cameras set up. The FBI went in there, grabbed, dude. So if you look up the video footage of FBI going into Jeffrey Epstein's Manhattan or New York house and coming out with bags, like just tons of agents with masks on, black trash bags full of stuff. You can't see what's in it. And so now I'm thinking, okay, they're releasing all this random stuff because it's like everybody in America just dislikes everybody in politics. There is no way out. So that's one of the things I kind of trailed off on earlier, is that the reason why all this stuff matters is because not that, oh, it's either a Democrat hoax because Donald Trump calls it a Democrat hoax. The Democrat says it's Republican this, it's back and forth. Basically, all these people are a bunch of rich people that just hang out. They're a bunch of freaks doing freak offs 24/7. Left wing Diddy party, right wing Epstein, whatever. That's how they get them in. There's one. It's always something. Again, the whole Nixium, if you know what that is. It's like NXVIM. It's like some cult that a bunch of different people were in up north, and if you know what I'm talking about, like the Roger Stone and Richard Nixon, where they'd be branding these girls with the hot irons and stuff. So a bunch of weird stuff. You gotta look into that. So a lot of these people are doing some crazy stuff. I'm talking way beyond money and power. Like, I have millions of dollars. Like, I'm talking, you got millions of dollars and you have like a mansion with an elevator that goes down into an underground base with like a laboratory. Ha ha, that's very funny, Agent Galaxy. Look up the Epstein Zorro Ranch. He has a ranch. It's a ranch. Again, he's just some guy, right? He's just some guy. He's allegedly a financier. That was okay. Forgot. Let me back up for a second. He was allegedly teach at a college, which no one could ever figure out how he got credentials to teach at a college, because he had never been to school himself, and nobody knows where he came from. He just appeared from Israel one day, and so he's a financier. That's how he got the money. He's like, I did someone's taxes, and they gave me $168 million. They gave you $168 million for doing his taxes, for doing one guy's taxes one time. Right? That's allegedly the story. And then they'll probably come out and say, oh, that's not what we said. So again, that's where he allegedly gets the house. He goes, does all the weird freak stuff, gets this Epstein Zorro Ranch. It's got a fire department. The fire department has not just a bunch of trucks and gear and stuff. His people work at the department. He's got his own town with a fire department and a horse stable and horses and stuff. I'm sure he likes to race horses and stuff. But it's got the mansion, has an underground layer, has elevators that go down. It has a helipad on a mesa, so it's on like a cliff mansion with a helicopter pad that opens up like the old Beetleborgs, thing where the giant robot comes out. It's got all that stuff. They unpainted it now. They tried to change it, but like a bunch of people went to the place and just flew a drone around, did like a little documentary, because they tried to call and see how he paid for this house, because this house is ridiculous. It's got an underground laboratory. It's got its own town. It has its own town, kind of like the Village, like the M. Night Shyamalan's, where he's got people living in there. They think that is the only place that ever exists because they were born in the laboratory. Crazy stuff, man. Again, you can look this up. I posted it. I've tagged the Hiders or Pioneer. I tagged the GWAT Alchemist. And GWAT Alchemist responded with some big eye emojis. I'm like, yeah, bro. Again, if you have millions of dollars, like I would have a this and that. They have a for those who know what VH1 is, it's like this old, you know, MTV style thing where they do documentaries about the rich and the famous. They have a Jeffrey Epstein VH1 documentary about the rich and the famous, where they go around the world and they're hanging out with them doing stuff. I'll put it in the link below, right? MAGA Civil War. A lot of people who are regular folks that work all day. Let me separate that. The regular people who vote for Republicans and stuff in MAGA, that's what I'm talking about. The actual influencers like the geeks and gamers and all the people on the line screaming about wokeness and say we need to have a war and kill people and all this stuff. And, you know, the regular people that were just doing whatever, like video game stuff, or some people that were just doing other things years ago. Now they're talking about we need to kill all these kids and don't worry about these kids getting hurt. And, you know, there's people calling into little call-in shows. There's a guy, I don't, again, you could call whatever you want. A lot of these people, that's why I pick people who are named, so you can say, hey, this person named like a Brandon Tatum or something, like, oh, they'll say something crazy, but then you can say, hey, this is a real person who says something crazy. This is how many followers I have, and the message, you know, is uniform across all of these different creators and stuff. That's why I separate the people who watch the creators from the actual creators themselves, because the creators themselves, they're paid by all these different companies and all these different lobbying groups and political whatever. But the people who watch them, a lot of people don't believe that, and they want to believe in the Donald Trump. He's going to ascend to power and he's going to save us because it's like a movie or something. But in reality, I'm looking at the lizard people like, wow, you guys are wrong for that. All them people that you're messing with and you're leading them crazy, that's messed up. But again, that's my point of view, right? So again, MAGA Civil War, people are learning about how many ridiculous mansions. Again, let me finish the story. So it's on the Mesa, the Jeffrey Epstein, the Zorro Ranch, Zorro. It's on the edge of this cliff. It's this huge mansion with all this stuff, and it has like this underground facility. Someone called and asked about all this stuff because there was a contractor who builds all this stuff. And the contractor's like, "Yeah, you want to hear about it? I love building underground stuff." And he just tells them all the stuff. Fucking cat! Oh my god, it scared the shit out of me. I almost punched you in the face. I'll beat your little behind if you ever run up on me like that. That is not funny. Come here. Look what you've done. You've scared everybody. They thought I was going to die. So again, there's a couple of YouTubers out there. Again, if you get on that side of YouTube, it's a different algorithm. There's a bunch of people who interview contractors who build the bunkers for the elites and stuff. And they'll tell you, yeah, I do this. Check my website out here. I built this for this person, built them for that. And some of the stuff, it isn't just like, oh, it's like a 5,000 square foot bunker for my family in case something happens. I'm talking like Oprah, The Rock, and Mark Zuckerberg out in Hawaii, like super mega fortress, like stuff that's so big, you'd be like, dude, you're going to mess up the tectonic plates because you're taking out like a whole entire like section of it for like a, you know, for like this, what, multi square mile bunker under base. Like, how do you have multiple square miles of bunker under base? Like, again, this isn't the military. These are regular people who just have this because they've acquired so much money and power, right? That's why electric bills going up, by the way, because they're doing stuff over there, right? And all this light is gone. That's crazy. So again, that's what I'm talking about. MAGA Civil War, because people are realizing, again, my last video, I brain dumped because so much stuff happened. I literally just had it like a meltdown and I was laughing too much. I could barely keep it together. I'm very sorry, but you had to see it. People are finding out that this is who these influencers are. The low level influencers are the people who used to be whatever, sports, you know, video games, you know, fashion. You know, I used to be like a Democrat, but now I'm a Republican. Now I'm MAGA. Now I'm anti. Then they jump back and forth. Now I'm a never Trumper, but I'm a Republican. Like all whatever it is, because again, Republicans are in power. This is, you know, they're catching heat because, you know, everybody already assumes Democrats, like the ones that are old Democrats, that was the old establishment and all that other stuff, the corporations, the Gavin Newsoms, all that stuff. Everybody already knows that they're like a bunch of freaks, you know, sex freaks, and they're doing weird freaky deaky shit, you know, every there, and they already assume that they're corrupt and stuff. But again, Republicans are out here saying that we are definitely not them. We're religious. We're the party of family values and all this other stuff. Come to find out, Y'all's at the same party, and y'all's out there doing headstands butt naked too, right? And again, that's what the emails are about. They're talking about a lot of really funny stuff. Now, people are people are shocked to learn that they have all these underground bunkers and all this weird stuff. Again, human trafficking, and they're like, what's going on, right? And so that's what this video is about, is that me trying to get this out after all this time. It's already been 30 minutes. A lot of MAGA voters who are good people are now realizing that, again, you could literally just say anything. Anybody can come to your political party. It's not like a literal building with a door. You're making sure that certain people can't get in. That was loud noise over there. So anybody can say MAGA. So a lot of these people are agents. A lot of people are ops. There's different groups of, people who are in it. So again, the economic people have their economic stuff that they're complaining about, and they're like, this is bullcrap. This is bullcrap because I work in this industry and Trump says this on TV. I can tell you it's bullcrap because of this, and this. Or I'm from the this, side, and I busted the Democrats' balls on this, and I'm going to bust Trump's on this because here's this, and this is fake. Every group of people is shredding everything apart. But one thing that they're not good at is knowing the history of political sabotage and like the actual history of America. They know their slice, but like a lot of the stuff that they weren't physically, your family wasn't there for, or you weren't there for, they don't know. And this is where the internet plugs into all of that. People are finding out about the Epstein stuff. And again, not the files that they're releasing, all the emails and stuff, that Trump doing some freaky deaky stuff and that being, possibly in there or whatever, and him doing so let me just explain. So there's an email correspondent, Jeffrey Epstein and his brother. This is like, I think in 2014 or 2015 or something like that. They're talking about hanging out with Trump or whatever, which again, Donald Trump says he doesn't hang out with Epstein since 2006 or 7. I kicked him out of my place, which is nonsense because this email obviously proves that they were hanging out with Trump all the time. And like, oh yeah, it's so funny. We go on the TV and those civilians, they have no idea that we're pretending to be enemies. We're friends. So again, that's normal. Again, heartbreaking people. No, I thought Trump was a hero. So Jeffrey Epstein and his brother were talking back and forth about Trump. I have a chart that says like out of the 20,000 emails, there were at least 2,000 of them that they grabbed. Trump was in like 1,700 of them. They're talking about him. He's not corresponding per se. And they're like, hey, does Vladimir Putin still have that picture of Trump blowing Bubba? And it was a question mark. So nobody knows who the Bubba is. Nobody knows if they're like, talking about anything specific or whatever it is they're talking about. But this is what they're talking about in an email correspondence like 10 years ago before Trump was even elected. And this is obviously an email you don't assume is going to be blasted up on TV and everyone's going to be looking for you like, like you're chasing down Dracula out of the whole town chasing Dracula out of a graveyard or something. So Jeffrey Epstein brother comes out on news that wasn't meant for y'all to read, and I didn't mean anything that I said. Yeah, sure, whatever, sir. Yeah, whatever. So again, people are starting to really get into it. But again, then they have people come on television like the Caroline Levitt, which is the spokesperson for the Donald Trump, group on television. Like, she'll come out and they'll be talking about some stuff like, we aren't doing anything bad, and I can't believe you're hurting us by thinking this way. Total propaganda, like, like mind, like with the laser. Yeah. Like some whatever. Same thing like they would do with the Joe Biden one and the other one. They always have some person come out that's going to talk or whatever. Like normally it would be like some boring looking general or some random person in a suit that would just talk very normal. But the stupid thing is the first Trump administration, they started making people in their cabinet positions likable to some people so then they turned these very boring positions that would just talk about stuff into like this person that draws attention, and now people are looking in even more into what you guys are doing because you're turning everything into a popularity contest and you're alerting people that these positions even exist. Now everybody's on your ass, which is stupid. So again, now he has this Caroline Levitt, some blonde chick or lady, I don't know how old she is. She looks like she's like 50 or something. I think she's like my age. She's up there yelling and screaming, talking about, I can't believe you're even looking into any of this stuff, Donald Trump, and we're doing great and all this stuff. But again, the regular people, MAGA Civil War, they're debunking that because they're saying, wow, everything is terrible. How dare you lie to my face? And there's all the videos, the FAFO videos, the F around and find out videos where people are like, I thought it was going to be great. Just like everyone else had to find out, put your faith in a politician and a political party that says we're exclusively not going to do this thing, and then that's the exact thing that they do, and then they quadruple down on it, and then you get tossed straight to the wind. So again, that's what's going on. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, Thomas Massey, there are these two representatives, I think, of Congress people here in the United States. They're jumping ship from the Trump narrative, the Trump team. They're saying, I'm real MAGA. I'm the real voice of this movement. Again, for whatever you think about either one of them, they're going out on a limb publicly. What the hell? You better stop scaring the shit out of me, dude. So again, they're going out publicly on a limb saying, I'm no longer with Trump. I'm breaking from Trump and stuff. And now, Marjorie Taylor Greene says she's getting phone calls from security firms over in Washington, D.C. saying, hey, we're hearing that some people are going to try to kill you and your family. So, if you ever want extra protection, we'll come help you out. And that's what's happening now. She's giving speeches on TV talking about, wow, I feel threatened. Oh my God, these people are trying to kill me and I feel threatened. Thomas Massey's wife died mysteriously recently after he made comments about how he wasn't going along with it like last year and a half or 2 years ago. If you remember what the exact date was, put it down in the comments. This lady was killed. It's very sad. But again, he made comments about how he doesn't go along with Israel and all this different stuff. He made the AIPAC handler. So he did a conversation. So this guy, Thomas Massey, the representative here, I think he's from Kentucky. He's in Kentucky, right? He put it down in the comments. I can't remember exactly where he's from. I always get it mixed up because I know Marjorie Taylor Greene's from Georgia. She represents a place over up there in Georgia. Thomas Massey made a comment to Tucker Carlson, did an interview saying that every person in Congress on the right side, because he's like, I don't know how the people do on the left, they have an AIPAC handler, which is a constituent in your district, but this random constituent, when they call you, they want something, you got to do it, and I don't do it, and then I'm having problems in my life. And so they're always threatening him. They're always saying he's this, he's that. Like, he's not like a perfect person. He's got he's got some things wrong or whatever, but he gives his genuine opinion on what he thinks that his constituents need or what America needs. And a lot of people like it because he's like pro, he's, I guess we do call, somewhat America first because he's doing his constituents. So I wouldn't say America, he's like his constituent, his state first, but that's his job, is to represent his state, right? And so whatever you think about his, national policies or other stuff, because I don't know everything, all his opinions, I don't like follow him or whatever. But whenever has a controversial opinion on something that I follow, like foreign policy or super political, like crazy, secret stuff, I'll look at him and be like, oh, okay. It's not like the super hook, line, and sinker, cringe political left and right stuff. So it's like a regular person, right? Regular sounding human being, right? Whether you like him or not. This cat better stop. But again, you have Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's like, I'm fear for my life. Oh my God, if you're breaking from Trump, that's bad for me. And she's going to give his speeches, and she actually went on CNN and was like apologizing for participating in all the different Trump stuff and all the political mudslinging and all the hating on random people for random reasons and not getting anything done for all these years. But yeah, now that you're being targeted with the stuff that was going around for everybody else when it comes to politics, they weren't really doing anything about the problems. They were just mudslinging about politics. You know what I mean? And then when you try to do something about the problems, then she found out you got some people looking you up, trying to figure out where you live. Marjorie Taylor Greene saying her son and her family was getting threats and they're feeling scared and stuff. So again, it's starting to get to the point to where if you're looking into that, again, everything wraps back into, the whole foreign country, putting money into all the influencers, because the news and the Hollywood and the straight up iron fist wasn't working anymore, right? Now they're putting money into the whole influencers, because that's where people are going. They put money into influencers and the TV commercials that are on YouTube and the YouTube and the Instagram and the social media. So everything is completely on the nose, hyper, Israel first type of stuff. And, Donald Trump, Republican, super rich people first, and completely just annihilate. Like I say, even people that have millions of dollars, they're getting cooked. You got to have hundreds of millions. If you're not on the 100 million to the billion club, you're cooked. A lot of these farmers, some of them have millions of dollars. A lot of people that are celebrities, a lot of people that made good money for themselves, they have $1 million or maybe $2 million done. All their stuff is gone. They're having to sell a lot of stuff. They're freaking out. My cat is having a problem getting off that garbage can. Just jump. There you go. Stop being a weenie. So again, a lot of people are getting roasted. So again, that's where the MAGA civil war comes from, because a lot of people who joined MAGA because they thought it was a political movement to change America realized that it was actually a psyop containment movement to contain you from actually realizing you could solve your problems probably in a week. It'd be really drastic. It'd solve a lot of problems in America in a week. Everyone would have mostly what they need. Everything go back to normal. But again, that's not going to happen, because you thought you're joining a political movement. You're actually joining a psyop to keep you under control, to slow you down, to calm you down, right? And then you find out they're all a bunch of freaks. And they're all, again, the point of the emails and stuff in the MAGA civil war isn't that Trump is out there, giving sloppy toppy to, somebody who you don't know who it is. It's like some type of, political, like, a game of clues so you can figure out who did it. Oh, it was Donald Trump and Bill Clinton sloppy toppy with the mustard in the den with the lampshade, or whatever, right? It's not like that. Even though that's in there, what it's really about is that the intelligence agencies and all these people and all these little bunkers and stuff, their job is to literally wake up every day and run a child booty scraping ring that takes up all the world leaders that are on like the Western side and anybody else that they can get their hands on, any other country they can get their hands on, to just compile blackmail about them for this moment, for apparently for this exact moment. If this were to happen where people were to get mad and they were to get overthrown, apparently the whole reason why they did the child blackmail was because the civilians would get mad and they could start blackmailing each other so that people would attack them. So whoever can drop a blackmail on somebody else first, you would live, because the people will just zombie them and I get to get away. That's what they think, right? So the whole point of them doing the blackmail was because, number one, they're horrible, actual, just, demon level threats to our existence. And they're actually a bunch of, sex predators. And because they could blackmail everybody once it collapsed. If it's like, well, it wouldn't collapse in my lifetime, but if it did, I got blackmail on you and I'll dump it on you and I'll run away. So they think they're going to run away. But again, unless y'all got like a UFO, y'all going to go to the underground base, all the bunkers that I talked about. Y'all finna run to them bunkers. You finna go to space and the UFO. What are they going to do? Where are they going to go? Because like I said, people will take a lot of stupid crap seriously, but one thing they won't tolerate is a diddler. Especially not like a super high powered one that's talking shit, having an attitude. That's crazy. MAGA civil war. Everyone's figuring out that's who you were messing with the whole time. Just like, the lefties and all that stuff they figured out, because a lot of people are like, oh man, we're gonna mess with the Democrats and the super money havers, because those are the fair people. We're gonna do like, a fair society. We're gonna get healthcare. We're gonna get all these things from the Democrats and from the U.S. government, and the donors and all the billionaires and trillions. We're going to get them to, make a society that's fair, because, we're going to do it, the lefty way, and we're going to do whatever. We're going to have socialism, communism, and all this stuff. And all you got was more American government just doing the same thing. And prices are going up, inflation, new disaster every week, a new hyper level disaster, a new pipeline shut down, the whole Eastern Seaboard. Remember in the Eastern Seaboard, all the pipes got hacked for all the oil and all the gas was shut down for like a week, and there's none of the gas pumps were working. Everyone's running to the gas, buying it all up. Remember that? Like, that's all you're going to get, is keep getting more of that. Norfolk Southern train crash, mysteriously heats up and explodes and literally chemically just annihilates this town in Ohio. And then it went into a cloud. It like went into a rain cloud, all the chemicals, and then it drifted all the way up to I think almost up to Canada. And people were like, it was raining in like parts of Connecticut, and like you could see like the oils, like the little oil spill, like super crazy color drops in the rain, breathing all that in. Oh my God, people are getting sick. Yeah. You know what I mean? DuPont poisoned the world, all this type of stuff going on. Absolute insanity. But again, you think that like, oh, we're going to get another president and they're going to fix the thing that the other guy did. But again, MAGA civil war. A lot of people are getting very petty and bitter, and they're starting to look these people up, and they're getting, again, the reason why Nick Fuentes is popular, not because of the white nationalist stuff. There's some people like that stuff. It's all corny and like black, the they had like the BLM was the parts that were funded by the U.S. government to just destroy everything and be stupid. That took actual people's they had actual people that had grievances and stuff, but they turned it into some corporate thing and they flashed it everywhere and they did all the, oh, nothing's happening, the fiery but peaceful thing. But then there's people who are like, yeah, we had actual problems, and you turned it into some, a bunch of kids flying in on planes and coming all over the place to just destroy stuff and leave every community that they claim to care about in shambles. Now it's the same thing. We're like, we're gonna do MAGA and stuff, and it's like, it's just a bunch of billionaires just literally taking everything, buying up the town, doing the company town thing, wages stay stagnant or go down or straight up are no jobs. And then like, they're like, oh, everything's great. Look at how much money we're making on TV to have some stuff. It's going crazy right now. And again, the reason why Nick Fuentes is popular is because of not because of the white nationalism stuff, but because he's talking about everything else. He's like, oh man, I'm an angry young person. And I'm mad because originally I was told that brown people, the immigrants, are taking all the jobs. No, he's learned that, hey, they're just, again, like I said in my last video, they're just cycling immigrants in and out, these migrants in and out, these people from the countries they destroyed. They bring them here, and then they work them in the factory or do something. And then when they deport them, we got caught, and then they just bring in new ones. Again, so there's no reason to even have Americans. Y'all just going to sit to the side and just be like a spectator in your own sport of your country. Again, whether you're an immigrant here or not, you could be an immigrant here. I'm doing everything the right way. Okay, yeah, you're going to get charged lots of money. You're going to sit to the side. We're going to have some stuff going on in the background, work some people to death, and you're all going to get nothing. Matter of fact, you're going to charge you a lot in taxes, and we're going to poison all the food and stuff. Again, there's so many things going on in America. It's like you can't even like concentrate sometimes because it's so bad. But again, positivity. What is the positivity in the video I always end with? MAGA Civil War. All the regular people are finding out that right wing or, whatever, what's the point of even, claiming any of these things when like nothing means anything to these people? Again, they have all these super hyper privileged influencers that are, again, they can find the dumbest, most vapid, airheaded dummies. Like there's like some girl like Emily Saves America. It's just some super hyper privileged like LA chick who literally is like, yeah, we're going to save America from all these liberals and stuff. I mean, like, dude, what? She's a liberal. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's like, it's just like it's like a social media, like parasocial thing where you need to pretend like you're doing something to get lots of people in the comments. Oh yeah, you're hot. You're going to save us and all this stuff. Now people are roasting her because she's dumb as hell. I'm like, yeah, because she doesn't do anything. All she does is take talking points. That better not be someone walking up on me, some creature. All she does is take talking points that they get from the same people that literally Ben Shapiro and all these other people, the Mark Levins and all the Megyn Kelly 15-year-olds are fine to date Megyn Kelly. The Megyn Kelly, she said that you can booty scrape a 15-year-old kid and it's fine. That's where they get the talking points from. And then when all the MAGA influencers get roasted by regular people that they originally had, now, oh my God, my audience is a bunch of incels or they're a bunch of this and that, and they're like, no, you're just getting roasted because people are finally found out that you're an op. So again, MAGA Civil War is going crazy right now, and now you're starting to see all the people who actually thought that it's a difference between people who actually thought MAGA was a movement versus the paid ops that were always there to make sure that they fell down and got completely annihilated economically and were squeezed dry of resources, i.e. the elites in the government and all those types of people. Not everybody who works for the government. I don't want you to go attack anybody, right? Who's like works in some office, does paperwork or whatever. But again, the people who decide how things work, like a certain level and up, that's what they're into. I'm sorry, this might hurt your feelings. A lot of people, you really thought that it was like some Christianity, revivalism and all that stuff. Nah, man, it's Illuminati cult. They just went and put on the red stuff. Again, it's like a theme, right? Like the Charlie Kirk funeral thing, it was like red theme. You know what I mean? Like literally, like if you ever played video games or have like a computer, you have like the background, all the little icons could be themed from like some movie or some video game or some book or something like that. It's like, again, red team theme, Democrats, blue team theme. But it's the same exact results. The same results. AI companies deciding what your rent price is, jacking up the price for your electricity bill. Some lady said her electricity bill, like random place in Alabama, was like $700 a month. She lives in like a trailer, right? $700 a month. That's crazy. But again, AI data centers, all this stuff, the craziness continues. So What do you all think? I can go on almost an hour. I can go on a lot more, but phone's probably going to die, and I got to put this video up tonight. You might see it tomorrow morning. So like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below what you think about all this. Again, left and right. I always say don't join a political team because you're just going to get got by the rich and powerful. Let's come together and actually fix America and just have a regular life. You know what I'm saying? Have the good stuff back. It doesn't have to be crazy expensive. Everybody could work. Working is fun, but working to the bone for 1,000,000 hours a week and getting nothing, that sucks. Comment below what you think. Like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.